episode 174 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z, sort of.
Alright guys, so last episode, TJ picked Voices of a Distant Star, not because it looked interesting, but because it was one episode of 22 minutes.
That's exactly why I picked it, you're right.
And I don't blame you, to be honest. Voices of a Distant Star is a Japanese science fiction OVA short film created and animated by Makoto Shinkai. It released February 2nd, 2002, then the light novel came out, and then a small manga came out, 1 volume.
So it must have been popular enough to get its own stuff, essentially.
I guess. Alright, well, that's kind of... So I'll give you the synopsis just by reading the wiki.
Okay.
The show or the episode, OVA, it follows the lives of 2 close childhood friends, a boy and a girl, who are separated when the girl is sent into space to fight a war against aliens. As the 15-year-old girl goes deeper and deeper into space, the text she sends take longer to reach Earth. The film simultaneously follows her battles and the boy's life as he receives her texts over the years. Now, that gives the implication that it's more than one time skip. It's kinda not.
No, it's not.
It's more like one time skip, and if there were time skips in the very beginning, it was only a couple months at most.
Right, yeah. So, just to go back a moment, I wouldn't have chose this if it was more than an episode because it's got mechs in it.
Yeah, it wasn't really about mechs, though.
No, I know
there was a mech fight, 2 fights, I should say, but that was just kind of on screen to give, reason for her to be separated from him.
But you could have told the story without mechs.
You could have, but you need an equally dumb reason for her to be out in space against her own will. Like, she doesn't want to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can't really think of one. Because, maybe she's, a microbiologist, but, that's a choice.
You just have regular spaceship battles, like Star Wars.
I guess.
You don't need to have them in a mech.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
Guess.
Or you're just discovering new planets because Earth is dying or something and they need to find either a suitable planet or a way to fix it.
It's really odd that they pick her and not him. Do you know why?
Why?
I don't.
Because he was stupid and she was smart, apparently. That's what they explained. Since she was just the one that applied herself and he didn't. He was lazy.
I guess.
That's what they said.
I mean, well, you know what? That makes a little more sense with the whole mech pilot because when we're talking about flying planes, yes, you want someone to be in shape, right? You don't want someone to be overweight or anything. But it's math.
Yeah.
And reaction time.
Yeah.
Typically, men win out on that. But if you happen to be really, really smart as a woman, and if you happen to be just a regular guy, well, she's going to win. You know what I mean? So I kind of, all right, I buy into it. If, let's say, you're on a battleship in space, you don't really need to be that smart, right? You can man a gun pretty easy.
Sure.
But a fighter pilot, and I can only imagine a mech would be, 10 times more.
So are you
advanced.
asking why he was?
I'm doing 2 things. I'm sort of giving reason for it to be mechs versus not mechs.
Okay.
And I'm saying it makes a little more sense because she's piloting something.
Okay.
That she was picked and not him.
So instead of her.
Yeah, that she was picked. No, that she was picked for the mech and recruited instead of him.
With your argument, my question would be, why didn't he just go on the same mission?
Because he's probably a normal person. Yeah, I know. And again, you're not going to be recruited to pilot a mech unless you're pretty intelligent.
What I thought you were saying,
okay,
you were switching the genders, and that's what I thought you were asking.
No. I was just trying to compare, who would you pick to pilot a mech?
Right.
Well, in the real world, to pilot a jet, it's usually people that can do really, really fast math.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, that's the explanation they gave. So, that's what we're going with.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean,
I think that's the explanation they gave, to be honest. The very beginning, I was in and out.
I know, it's a little boring.
It's supposed to give you this melancholy feel of, we're separated, but we love each other.
Yeah. And it's also weird because there's 2 different timelines going on because she's only gone for 6 months, essentially, but it's decades on Earth.
Yeah, they got that wrong. The only way that works is if the planet or the star they're being surrounded by has a huge amount of gravity to bend space-time. The fact that she's far away from him doesn't change time for either of them. It just takes a while for that message to get to Earth.
Right? But she doesn't age. They say that. She's only been gone for 6 months in comparison to his decade.
Maybe what they're trying to say is when they're in hyperspace, it takes a super long time to get there. also, like, maybe she's in cryosleep or something, so she's not aging?
It's not. They literally said...
But they didn't say any of that.
They actually said it's, I guess, something to do with light travel, that it only passes for 6 months for me, but it's going to be years for you. Because they say at one point in the anime that the guy says you are eternally young, and...
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense mathematically with what we know of space travel and what is possible. Like, for instance, wormholes are real. They can exist. They're just not natural.
Right.
So we know how they work. So we have a sense of, like, how to get from one space in time to another space fast. You don't age when you go through that. Like, you age like I'm aging now on Earth. Right. You're just going to be farther away.
Yeah, but like I guess it was something to do with the way they were traveling through hyperspace.
Okay. It's just a dumb thing. That they gave.
It was just, I just didn't understand how, like, because they kept her at, like, why is she on this mission at 14 or 15?
She was apparently that good that she was picked. My bigger question is, why is she in her schoolgirl outfit halfway across the universe?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
in a mech pod. Come on, you don't have a military outfit for her?
That's Japan. That's just a...
Well, here's the thing. It's like when you make an OVA, you're usually doing it for one of two reasons, or both reasons. One is you want to spark interest in a new idea.
Yes.
And, like, maybe you want to flesh it out, but you need funding for it. The other reason is, like, maybe you're a newer studio, and you're trying to show off your technical skills and all that jazz. So you're going to put a lot of effort into this one thing so that you can get funding to make other things. But they, like, f***ed up a couple things, like her outfit. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Why are they picking a 14-year-old girl to be a mech pilot? Doesn't make sense. Like, there's plenty of people on Earth. It's not like Earth has been ravaged by war. Right. That we've seen anyway.
And this story is definitely made to just be an OVA because there's nothing really to go from here.
I mean, she could continue fighting and get home. She didn't die.
Yeah,
he didn't die.
I know, but, like...
Be a little creepy for a 24-year-old. Actually be another 8 years by the time she got back.
I know, that's my whole point.
And she'd be, 15 or 16 at the time, and he'd be 32.
And how long is it going to take for her to complete this mission? Maybe he'd be dead by the time she got back after everything. That's the rate they're going, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I lost my train of thought.
It doesn't matter. I don't like the reason for the aging.
No.
If the reason had been that, they went through light space, they got to where they were going, and there's a giant star there, or something with a huge amount of gravity, and it's slowing down your time, makes sense. Oh. That's how we understand time now.
Now, what's annoying, too, when was this made?
2002.
So, this is supposed to be the far future, and yet they still got, like, shitty cell phones. The technology didn't make sense. It's like, why are you still using outdated technology?
And they said in the beginning is like, oh, it sucks that this is the only way we can communicate using 2000 technology.
Why don't you have ways to communicate to Earth at this point?
Other than text message. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if they didn't show her cell phone in the mech, then she could just be writing up a message on there and sending it to him, and he could just be getting on a cell phone. Who cares? Yeah. That's perfectly fine. But they specifically said using this old tech is the only way to talk to each other.
And they say old tech in the show.
So there's current, newer tech.
Yeah.
Maybe the military isn't letting them, but then later on, she says the military's monitoring all messages. So if they're letting them use the old tech to message, then they would let them use the new tech to message. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
It's stupid.
Again, trying to show off your OVA, you're trying to think of things and, like, show everyone that you can make something worthwhile, and you just f*** up a lot of things.
Yeah, it was.
The art was a little weird, especially in the beginning with the faces. It was like very wide.
I was going to get to that. I did not like the art. I got used to the art, but I did not like the art.
The mechs looked pretty good.
It's not hard to draw a mech.
Yeah, they looked kind of like an action figure mech in real life.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Imposed into a 2D anime. It was really weird.
It was. Like, that was almost like they used 3D technology.
I'm sure they did. That's what it looks like.
For that specific section.
It just popped a little too much.
Yes. Whereas the characters look like they're scratchy 2D, like...
Honestly, it looks like a good high schooler drew them. Yeah. I don't mean that I kind of mean that in a bad way, because again, it's an OVA, they're supposed to be showing shit off. But, it's fine if you like that style, but, like, again, it was like, oh, this is clearly an anime character, that's what someone's drawing, but their face was a little too wide.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to be mad at one episode, 22 minutes.
I'm not mad at it or anything. Yeah, it's not like we had to slog through 12 episodes. If I had to slog through 12 episodes of this, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I'd be mad too.
One episode, though, yeah, it's fine.
It's like, yeah, okay.
But I can't give it a good score.
No.
You know what I mean? It's below average.
Yeah, it's hard to judge it based on what it is because there's nothing to it.
Or not enough to it, yeah.
It's almost like it's it's just an idea. Like,
that's usually what OVAs are. That's fair.
Yeah, I know. But, like, there's no real story to it. I mean,
if it was fleshed out, this could have been like one of those really good current movies, like Your Name or something.
Yeah,
it could be really great if you had given time more time for the show, give it an hour and a half, and like actually fill it with content.
Yeah, like there's a good idea in here. Is what I'm trying to get at. It's just, and the concept's decent enough. It's just they didn't really execute it very well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's a 4. I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's not terrible. But I with me not having any praise for it, I can't even give it average.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't... There was nothing really that was in it for me either. So I guess I'm at a 4 too. And considering we're at like 12 minutes right now, and this will be edited down obviously, but at 12 minutes right now, this is about half as long this podcast as this episode was. So...
Yeah, we can't really go too much longer.
So it's like, what do you want to...
That's kind of it.
What do you want to say about it?
I think we spoke about everything.
Yeah, I know. There was nothing else into it. Okay. I guess we're going to go into W.
Yep. I already picked it. So I looked through W. There's not a whole lot of things. There's a couple things that look kind of slice of lifey. That's what I picked. Waiting in the Summer.
Do you want to bring up the site to do the stuff we always do at the end of it?
Oh, fine.
Since we do it every other time.
Come on. New window. Y'all are just going to have to wait a moment.
We had already pre-planned this, so... First one.
All right, Waiting in the Summer. Drama, romantic, comedy, science fiction, slice of life. The box art, cover art, whatever, and the slice of life is like, oh, okay, you know what? Romantic comedy, we've had pretty good success with that so far. I didn't read this. I picked it off of that.
Right.
But I'll read it for you. Oh, blah, blah, blah. While testing out his camera on a bridge one summer night, Kaido sees a blue light streaking across the sky, only to be blown off the railing seconds later. Just before succumbing to unconsciousness, a hand reaches down to grab hold of his own. Dazed and confused, Kaido wakes up next to... Can't find my line.
Next morning.
Next morning. That's what I said next to. Next morning, wondering how he ended up back in his own room with no apparent injuries or any recollection of the night before. I'm done.
Yeah. 12 episodes. Yeah. We'll talk about it next episode.
Alright, guys. Waiting in the Summer. Next time.
Bye.